Next, I'd like to introduce Ken Comee, who is President and CEO of Cast Iron Systems, which is an IBM company. Ken has spent more than 20 years of executive management experience in both public and private companies. Much of his career was specifically focused on the sales, marketing, and channel execution roles vital to the growth and culture of early and late-stage companies. Ken was most recently President and CEO of Cast Iron, the leader in cloud integration, which was acquired by IBM in April in 2010 as a critical piece of its cloud strategy. He is currently an executive in IBM's software division, working to leverage Cast Iron's integration capabilities across other IBM products and acquisitions. Ken?
Well, good evening, and I'm very pleased to be here. I've known Promod for about 10 years as the chairman of Cast Iron, as a mentor, and as a friend and confidant. And if you've read his biography, you'll know the numbers. More than 60 direct investments, $30 billion in acquired value, and in companies creating thousands and thousands of jobs. His path to success in venture is an interesting one, a lifelong journey shaped from his earliest years, but most importantly, his beliefs. So what little time I have up here, I'm going to take a little bit different approach. And one thing that I find very, very interesting is the biography channel, the A&E, stories of someone's lives. And so we have such an esteemed panel of guests. I'm going to give Promod a little bit of the, Promod, this is your life. Spoken very, very fast. So Promod was born in the Indo-Pakistani War, the first war fought between neighboring people. A historical and bloody time in the region, culminating in the end of British rule, the independence of India, and the creation of Pakistan. The name Promod is Hindu, Haque is Muslim, his middle name is Stephen. A devout Christian, he is the eldest of 2 children raised by a mother who was a school teacher and a father who was a civil servant. There was no tech industry in those days, mostly clerical and sales jobs. His parents sacrificed much to send him to the best schools as possible, and after graduating from the University of Delhi with a degree in electrical engineering, he began his career as a sales engineer at Siemens, selling X-ray, radiology, and ultrasound equipment. After 3 years, his technical roots and his natural academic curiosity got the best of him. He wanted to return to school to study the design of the imaging products that he was selling, how they worked and why. There was one school in the world at that time that had a biomedical program, Northwestern University in Chicago. He applied and was accepted, but without a scholarship. So he took his commissions that he had earned as an SE, borrowed $4,500 from his father, and caught a plane to the United States with only enough money and living expenses to complete the program in 9 months. He had to graduate on time, find a job, because he knew there would not be any more parental funding available. So you could say this was his first real startup venture. At the completion of his master's, one of his professors tapped him to pursue a PhD, this time fully funded. Following graduation, he joined a small division of EMI and worked for a team that was developing what is known today as the CT scan, a truly revolutionary piece of medical technology. With his PhD and MBA, marriage, the start of a family, and a medical imaging expertise behind him, Promod took the startup plunge, culminating in becoming the CEO of DMI, a medical records company that he built from the ground up and took IPO in 1985. Although he approached Norwest when he needed early funding, they passed on the deal. Something I find just a little ironic. He joined Norwest in 1990, and in 1995 moved his family, Dorcas and their 3 beautiful daughters, who are here today, to Silicon Valley to further what continues to be an illustrious career in venture industry. As I've grown to know Promod over the years, what strikes me is that for someone born in Simla, a small town in the cool hills of northern India, what he has accomplished in his life represents everything that is wonderful about the American dream. Where strong values, integrity, a tireless work ethic, perseverance, and a bright and inquisitive mind can be the foundation to personal and professional success. Yes, he's a visionary, a venture capital heavyweight, but what I find most impressive is he's one of the most grounded, kind, beloved, and humble people I know. Promod Haque.
Thank you, Ken. I'm humbled and I'm delighted to be here. And that was quite a chronology there. Brings back a lot of memories. And so here I am. I would just add one thing to it, and I think it's ironic in some ways. But my first job that Ken talked about as a sales engineer at Siemens India, this is back in 1972. I still remember the fondness. I was paid back in those days 450 rupees a month. In today's exchange rate, it's $10 a month. So those were humble beginnings. And, I am very grateful and thankful to a lot of folks for being here today and, for being a venture capitalist in the Bay Area. Let me just share a couple of thoughts about being a venture capitalist and really about Silicon Valley, because I think the venture climate, the venture philosophy, the venture values, they are really unique. I travel all across the globe, and it's fair to say that, what Silicon Valley has is very, very unique. And as someone pointed out, there's tons of people that come from all over the world to look at what goes on in the Valley, to try to figure out how to mimic that and how to translate and transfer some of those values so their countries and their cities can be successful as well. But one of the things that I like about the Valley, I think it's a very unique characteristic, and that is that there is freedom to fail. Freedom to fail. That is a very, very essential piece of being able to innovate. If you don't have the ability to fail, if you don't have the ability to try something, and eventually perhaps even fail, that's very unique. And if we didn't have that freedom to fail in the Valley, I don't think you would see as much innovation as you see. Now, there's a corollary to that, and that itself is something that's very unique to Silicon Valley. And what I've learned over the years, and I practice in my own life, tell my kids to do it, as well as entrepreneurs that we fund, colleagues that we have in our firm, and that is, when you do have failure, failure is not a person. Failure is an event in a person's life. So move on. Don't let that failure either scare you, or the fear of failure, which causes you not to innovate, or if you do happen to go through failure, don't let that define you for the rest of your life. Failure is not a person. Failure is an event in a person's life, and you learn from it. In fact, and I say this with a little bit of caution, a lot of times when we hire executives into our firms that we have funded, one of the things that I look for is to see if that person has been through some tough times. One of the cliches that we use is, if this person has only seen the boom times and has never really done anything other than haven't been successful in the boom times, well, they are not a fit for the current environment that we went through over the last 10 years, tough environment. And so failure is not a person, failure is an event in a person's life. The big question to ask is, what did that person learn from that? And therefore, what value can they provide to us? And that's very critical. That happens only in the Valley. The third thing is never give up. Never give up. That's one of the things we've practiced in our own firm with companies that we've funded, but with one exception, and that is the definition of insanity is don't keep doing the same thing but expect a different result. So pivot, change. And a lot of companies pivot, they change. We change management teams, we change strategies, and so on. And so that is unique about Silicon Valley, and I love being here. I'm very thankful to my parents for that initial loan that I got. I'm thankful to my wife. I travel a lot, and she bears the brunt of it. I am thankful to my colleagues. More importantly, I'm also thankful to the entrepreneurs that are willing to stand up and innovate and not be depressed by failure, but to move on and pivot. And more importantly, I'm just thankful to the Lord for the fact that, I have a great job, and He's put me in a position where I have the luxury and the ability to meet a lot of interesting people, and to fund people, and to participate and collaborate in the success that we see in this valley. Thank you.